Once upon a time, in a magical land full of wonder and amazement, there lived a giant who was renowned throughout the kingdom for his unique ability to grow the most delicious and magical beans. The giant spent most of his days tending to his beans, which he nurtured with great care and love. He took great pride in his work, and he knew that his beans were the best in the land. The beans were so special that they could grant wishes to anyone who ate them, and many people would travel from far and wide just to try one. One day, a curious boy named Jack stumbled upon the giant's land. Jack had heard of the giant's magical beans and wanted to see them for himself. As soon as he arrived, the giant greeted him warmly and showed him around his vast garden of beans. Jack was amazed by the giant's size and power, but he soon discovered that the giant was kind and gentle. The giant was happy to share his beans with Jack and even invited him to his home for dinner. As they dined, the giant shared stories of his life and his love for his magical beans. Jack was fascinated by the giant's stories and began to see that the giant was not as scary as he had once thought. However, the more Jack learned about the giant, the more he became afraid of him. He was worried that the giant would use his magic beans to harm others. The giant noticed Jack's growing fear and tried to reassure him that he had no intention of using his beans for evil. He explained that his beans were meant to bring joy and happiness to those who appreciated them. Despite his fears, Jack continued to visit the giant and learn more about him and his beans. He even helped the giant tend to his garden and harvest the beans. Over time, Jack began to understand the giant and appreciate his magical powers. He saw how much work and love the giant put into his beans and how much joy they brought to people. Jack even started to think of the giant as a friend. But one day, Jack made a mistake. He stole some of the giant's magical beans and ran away. When the giant found out what Jack had done, he was heartbroken. He had trusted Jack and thought they were friends. The giant became angry and chased after Jack. As they fought, the giant realized that Jack had never really understood him. The giant was not a scary monster, but a kind and loving creature who just wanted to share his magic with others. In the end, the giant was able to defeat Jack and retrieve his magic beans, but he was left feeling sad and alone, knowing that he had lost a friend. The giant began to question whether it was worth it to share his magical beans with others if they would only cause him pain and heartache. He became distant and stopped inviting people to his garden. After much reflection, the giant decided that he would keep to himself and his magical beans. He realized that not everyone was meant to understand him, and that was okay. He took solace in the fact that his beans were still growing and that they would continue to bring joy and happiness to those who appreciate them. However, the giant also decided to start sharing his stories and wisdom with the other creatures in the land, hoping that they would learn from his mistakes and not make the same ones that Jack did. He also began to teach them how to care for the magical beans so that they could continue to thrive and bring happiness to others.